Welcome on back, race fans, to the Adrenaline Rush Racing League, right here on Evolution Racing Network. I'll be your host, Steve Capel, up in the booth. My good friend Kevin Ruff cannot be with me tonight, so we're going to take you from start to finish on the solo side of things. Last week, we seen Curtis Preston really dominant at Rockingham. Can he bring home another one? We'll have to find out. Tonight, we're going to have a little bit smaller field. We're only looking at about 8 or 9 drivers out there tonight right now turning some practice laps. So I would say expect some green flag stops for sure. A lot of green flag racing. If we see a caution, it could go both ways. It could be a caution that hurts the whole field. It could be a caution in the back that maybe only hurts a driver or two. So everybody really, whether good, bad, or indifferent, has a shot to win this thing tonight. So hopefully your favorite driver's out there tonight. If you got anybody that you're rooting for, come on, throw it down in the chat. Let's talk it up. This is going to be a fun race. Kentucky is one of those tracks where 1 and 2, you could pretty much flat foot this thing around. But turns 3 and 4 it reminds me a lot of Pocono, really, where you have so many different turns. Turn 3 and 4 is a totally different beast. A lot of brake and throttle control. That's where you're going to see most of your tire wear. A lot of guys will try to run that high line in 3 and 4, and that'll definitely save your tires, but you will be a lot slower. So I think the guys that are running the bottom through 3 and 4 are the guys that are going to be competitive. Throttle control will be huge. You don't want to be getting in the throttle too much coming out of turn 4, because you're going to burn that rear up. Those rear tires are going to burn up quick. Well, let's take a look at tonight's race info. Like I said, we're at Kentucky, 1.5 mile track, just a hair under 1.5 miles. Air temp 70 degrees, partly cloudy. We've got a little bit of wind, 8 miles an hour. Track temperature 81, really shouldn't be a factor. Should be a ton of grip out there for these guys tonight. We're going to have to find out. But as always, like we talked last week, we'll probably continue to talk throughout most of this season, that tire wear for these drivers is going to be huge. And tonight is no different, as we are going to jump over here to qualifying. And these guys get 2 laps of qualifying. They do not get a fast repair, so that's good to know. As we see Michael Sheffield get his up to speed lap going on here, these guys do not get a fast repair in this league. So if you were not with us last week, we did have a caution last week, and what these truck drivers do if they get into a wreck is they have to go down pit road. The crews will work on these trucks a little bit, but they won't be click a button and you have a brand new truck like you will see on certain other leagues. As Michael Sheffield having a little bit of a connection issue, we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the race. But yeah, these guys do not have a fast repair. They will be on 100% fuel load, so they get a full tank of fuel, and they'll have 2 extra sets of tires to get them from start to finish. And these guys, I'm not going to throw, this is an educated guess now. Educated guess, 40 to 50 laps on a fuel run. That might be right, that might be not right. I think somewhere around that 40 to 50 yard line is where we're going to see these guys come down under green flag. Now, if we get some cautions in here, that might change things a little bit. As currently right now, we have GT Irizarry, last week's pole winner, on the pole again. He turned a 30.45. So good lap for GT. I'd like to keep an eye on this guy right here, number 3, California kid, Trevor Massetti. Struggled a hair last week to kind of get his truck to handle the way he wanted. But definitely don't count out Michael Sheffield. As you see, he is right up there on the board, looking to hopefully put on a good show. You know, he ran well, finished fourth last week. GT, I think, is a guy that will be dominant here. Obviously, Curtis Preston. I mean, he was fast last week. Let's call it what it is. He was lightning quick last week, and I'll be interested to see what he does tonight. So with that being said, guys, we're going to switch on over. We're going to play our national anthem, honor our nation's heroes, and we'll be back with your starting grid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, race fans. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get this thing cranking. We got a couple of seconds here. These guys are going to grid up, and we're going to go get going. We got 100 laps on the books tonight, and hopefully it's the race we all expect. I expect a lot of green flag runs for sure. A lot of green flag action tonight. With that being said, your starting lineup for tonight on the pole, GT Irizarry. On his outside will be Michael Sheffield in that one truck. Row number 2, Curtis Preston in the 29 and Trevor Massetti on his outside in that 3. Row 3, Richard Gonzalez in the 6, followed by Jeff Carson in the 9. Row 4, you're going to have Chad Biesinger in the 23 and the 28 of Justin Hendry. And rounding out your field will be the 69 of Josh Maxwell. And what we will do, as always, let's see if we can't get our pole sitter in for a little chat and see what he has to do tonight. GT Irizarry, Steve up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
We got you.
GT on the pole. Second race, Kentucky. What do we got to do to get a win tonight?
Looks like beat about, 7 other trucks is what it looks like. I mean, we just got to stay out in front and clean air and stay off the wall.
Yeah, smaller field tonight. I think the fans are going to see some nice green flag action. Any good strategy you want to poke out there, or is it just going out there and just trying to log some laps and stay out of trouble?
Well, I think it's going to be a decision of whether you want to make this race in one stop or if you want to do 2 stops. I don't think we're going to see any yellows. If we do, it'll be early. So I haven't made my mind up yet whether I'm going to go to full length or not.
All right, GT, we'll let you get to work, man. Best of luck. Hopefully we'll be talking to you post-race, buddy.
Yeah, 10-4, man. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, that was GT Irizarry. You're a pole sitter, and maybe could he be your race winner? It's going to be hard to say. as we will get things cranking up here. GT's going to lead them down to the green flag. And we're just going to have to see, is this going to be the race that we think it will be? I think it's going to be a great race. I think it's going to take some patience as GT Irizarry will lead them down. And let's go to work, boys. Kentucky style. Green flag's out. And GT will lead them down into turn one. You'll have Michael Sheffield right on his tail, right behind him. And Curtis Preston on the inside looking to make an early move. That will hopefully come into play sometime here, when these guys get settled in. As you see, Michael Sheffield just kind of try to put a little gap on 29. Everybody's just trying to get comfortable, find a place where you want to run. The 3 of Massetti, I think you're going to see him maybe make a little bit of move early just to kind of get where he wants to be. I know he's a top 3 truck. He wants to be up there with these guys. And that's something that if he's going to want to do it, he needs to do it early so he's not burning his tires up. We spoke to him pre-race, and he just said he wanted to go out, save the tires, and try to do the best that he can. Get some laps in, kind of get a feel for the track. As we see, we've got battle for the lead. Michael Sheffield putting in the work on the 4, GT Irizarry, right out of the gate. Michael Sheffield, another driver here, said basically the same thing. We want to try to go out and not kill our tires because we know it's going to be a long green flag run. But at the same time, we want to be comfortable. You want to be out front. I think this is a race where if you could get out in front, you could really, really put some laps together and kind of cook these guys, get a nice little lead going, and hold it. And if you could get through your green flag stops, you're going to be sitting pretty. But now GT coming back on the inside. This is going to be a nice little battle here for a couple laps. And all that really is doing is kind of opening the door for the guys behind them. They're probably sitting back in there saying, yeah, guys, come on, battle it out. We'll catch you, and then maybe we'll have a shot at that lead as GT will clear Michael Sheffield for that top spot. I don't think you want to see too many battles like that early on. But, racing's racing. These guys aren't going to sit back and take it. They're going to run each other hard, and that's just the way it is. And you see mostly everybody's pretty much single file throughout the field here. This is going to be a discipline game. It really is. It's going to be one of those races where if you're running second or third, as we see Curtis Preston looking in the inside of Michael Sheffield, if you're one of those guys that you got to be okay with being second or third for a little while because you really need to save your tires, you need to save your fuel. Like GT said, this might come down to a one-stop shop where basically the one stop might be all you need. As we see Jeff Carson there blinking out a little bit of a connection issue. We're going to want to keep an eye on that. Anytime we have guys out on the track with a little connection problem, things could get a little bit dicey. As we do see the number 3 California kid, Trevor Massetti, trying to make his way up through the field. This is his race, I think, if he does everything right. He obviously needs to get up there and run with the leaders. Curtis and GT, they're going to be tough to beat no matter who you are. But he's a guy that he can get it done. He's great at saving tires. If he can nail his pit stop, great. That was one of his big concerns when I talked to him early. I said, what's your concern about this race? And he goes, I'm nervous about sliding my box or speeding on pit road. He said, he has a habit of it. So pit stops are everything, especially when they're under green. Under caution, you can get away with that stuff. You go to the back of the field, you go green, and you can kind of, at least stay with the pack. But if you're going to pit under green, that's something where those things matter. As we see, we got the 9 of Jeff Carson having a good run for himself up there. He wants to go up and chase these leaders as he's going to go down into turn 1, and he's going to put a nose under Michael Sheffield as they come down the back straightaway here. And I think if I'm Michael Sheffield, that top line, I'm going to save some tires, but I'm not going to be quick. So I don't think we'll see too much of a battle here. But if you're GT, it's a reverse role now. GT saying, yeah, come on, guys, battle for a couple laps. I'll put on a couple second gap. That's fine with me. As it looks like, boy, I'll tell you what, Jeff gets a really good run coming out of the corner, but so does the 1. And now he's got the 29 with him. Now that's going to help him right there, as he's going to look to the inside for the race lead. And that 29 came up there, took enough air off of that back end, and it just sent him. And that is what he needed. Now, he's probably not going to get it. GT's going to lead this lap, but that was what Jeff Carson needed to make that pass on the 1 truck. And they're going to tuck in line now, and let's see if we can't get some of these guys to maybe work together. That you just saw it right there. Get behind a guy, push him by another guy. If that's what it's going to take to make passes, I think you're going to see a lot of that tonight if these guys stay grouped together like they are. Your top 5, GT, Jeff Carson, Michael Sheffield, Trevor Massetti, and last week's winner, Curtis Preston. Kind of what we expected out of the gate, but, we have a 100-lap race. It's going to be a long race, so we're kind of just going to have to see how it all plays out, especially in the early runs. Jeff Carson, he's hungry. He wants that race lead. What is he willing to do to get it, though? Is he willing to use more tire than GT? Because he will. That's inevitable. As we've got the 3 of Trevor Massetti, he's going to look on the outside going into turn 1 to try to get that second position away from Jeff. He's going to close that truck in real close, try to get a little bit of side draft. Even at these 1.5-mile tracks, that side draft is there, as we still see a little bit of connection issue out of that 9 truck. So we're going to have to see how that all plays out. As just enough, he might get clear of him being on the back end of GT coming through turn 1 and 2, and no, Jeff is actually there. This is a really great battle. This is a great battle, and we're going to have to see how this plays out in 10 to 15 laps. Does the 9 truck use his tire? As we see, wow, the 3 and the 9 almost touch coming into turn 1. Wow, that was close. That could have been a huge change for this race if they would have got tangled up together. Especially because they're the lead pack. It would have been really hard to avoid that. We're going to see now Jeff going down. He really wants that race lead. And I can't help but wonder, what side is Trevor Massetti on? Because we've seen that if a truck gets behind another one, it could really, really help them out. And it looks like he might be on team number 4. It really does. I think that, and GT's going to help him by sliding up out. Trevor's going to be able to grab that draft. And I think coming out of turn 4 here is where it's really going to matter, because that middle line can actually get a really, really good run coming out of the corner. As you see, he does. He's able to clear the 9 of Jeff Carson. And that's something that's going to be really, really important as this race goes on. Now, I'm curious, how much tire did the 9 burn up during that little battle? We're going to see. We're going to see, as he's still going for it. He's still trucking. You got to love it. You got to love to see the battles. I just don't know if it's the right time for it. But who am I to judge? But we see. We haven't really talked about it much, but the number one truck, Michael Sheffield, has slipped all the way back to seventh. Now, is this a tactic? It might be. It may be, hey, let's save a little tire now so we have it later in the run. Because we're seeing the same thing out of the 29 of Curtis Preston. So I'm interested to see if this is a tactic for these guys or if something might be wrong. They're not comfortable with the setup right now. As we see the 69 of Josh Maxwell, truck we have not talked about, has just slotted into the third spot, and he was able to get by Trevor Massetti actually pretty easy there. Maybe a truck to watch out for, the 69. We'll keep an eye on him. As the 23 now, alongside of Trevor Massetti, that's Chad Biesinger. He's also forced to, let's say, be reckoned with. We didn't really get to see too much of him last week, but I think he's hungry as well. Him in the 3 got real close in the turn 1 there. Wow, that was tight. Both good drivers, kind of know how to run real tight, which is good because if it was anybody else, I don't know if it would have went that way, guys. So we'll see. Right now, we're still battling up front here. Jeff Carson, man, I'll tell you what. I bet you he would pay somebody to lead a lap because he is pushing. He wants that lead, and is he going to get it? He might. As he does, he will clear GT coming out of turn 2. And I'll tell you what, besides the little connection issue he has, he's running a good race. He's being up there. But I still worry about them tires. I'm going to say it all race, and I think it's going to be true that just battling like that, and it's not helping GT much, but he's not going to concede. There's no way. You don't become a 2-time champion in this series by giving positions up. That I could promise you. But hey, let's go to the fan club. Anybody that's out there watching, you got a favorite driver? If you're not familiar with the series, throw a name out there. Who do you like to win tonight? Will we see Curtis Preston on a repeat? He slipped back a little bit, kind of just hanging around towards the back now. But as we come to lap 25, throw, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, throw in a comment section. Let's see who we got for some race predictions early on. Me personally, I think the 4 is going to be hard, especially to get around as we can see now. But I like the 3. I really do. I think the 3, Trevor Massetti didn't have the run he wanted last week at Rockingham. And I think tonight he wants more. He wants more. But what we're going to do now, folks, is something we want to introduce. We really didn't get a chance last week to do it because we just had so much exciting racing. NASCAR has a version of it called Crank It Up Minute. We're gonna mute the mics and we're gonna turn these engines up for the Red Line Minute, brought to you by S&C Transport. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Sounds of these trucks are awesome, as we did see the three. Yeah, right at the end of that segment, we did see the three. Trevor Massetti make a pass for the lead. So, new race leader, Trevor Massetti, as we come on lap 30. About a third of this race in the books. And as we see the 29 and the 4 battling it out. Let's see if that 3 could put a little bit of a lead on here. As they go down the backstretch, the 29 of Curtis Preston, little bit of an edge on the 4 of GT Irizarry. Now, we mentioned last week, these two are teammates, and I'll tell you what, they will run each other like they're fierce competitors out there. It's something you really like to see, actually, because they will run each other door to door. They will trade paint, and these guys are fun to watch. So when these guys get to battling, it gets really exciting. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that we might see 40 to 50 laps, was my guess, at green flag stops. Now, is that something that still holds true? Well, we're going to find out. You know, we're coming lap 32, so I'll be interested to see. And I'll be more interested to see which guys try to stretch it, because, I mean, simple math would tell you if you can make it to lap 51, you can make it to the end of the race. So, is there enough fuel to make it to lap 51? You know, we're going to see. But with 32 laps in the books, I can't help but wonder, will the yellow flag fly? I'd like to think that if we were going to see it, we probably would have saw it already. But who knows? I mean, it's a little too early to kind of be talking about stuff like that, because it's a long race. You know, there's still 64 laps to go in this thing. But maybe that's something that, if I'm one of these drivers, I'd love to keep a set for a late race caution. And with 2 sets of tires, if you can make that lap 51 and have an extra set at the end of the race for a late race caution, I mean, that really sets you up. But chances are, so will everybody else. And it's cat and mouse type of thing, really. You know, is it something that you want to? You could use 2 sets of tires up. If we got a caution right now, I mean, you could use a set, and then you could use a set because you're not going to make it to the end. You could use a set at the end. It's really something that's gonna really depend on strategy. I think in this league, this whole series, we're gonna be here for 20 races, and this whole series is gonna be, you know, pit strategy. I really think it is. We've got a smaller field, which makes for better, not better racing per se, but cleaner racing. You know, you're not going to see cautions like you would in a 40-car field. You know, these guys run a custom fixed setup here. So the setup is built. It's a variation of the iRacing stock setup, but everybody's running the same setup. So it kind of comes down to who drives that setup the best is what it is. And we're going to have to just kind of see what happens. As we see, Trevor Massetti has put about 0.6 of a second lead on Curtis Preston. If you're following the ticker on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the intervals, and it gains, it loses, it gains, it loses. So around 0.6 of a second right now. I think that if I'm Trevor Massetti, it's something I'm pretty comfortable with, I would say. But a lot of racing to go. Curtis last week was straight dominant, in my opinion. So I think this is going to be a battle of attrition. If you're the 3 of Massetti, hey, I just want to stay out there. I want to keep my car clean. I want to not burn up my tires, but at the same time, I'm mirror driving. You know, it's kind of one of those, another cat and mouse type of deal. But let's go ahead and run through our field and get everybody caught up to speed. If you're just joining us, the 3 of Trevor Massetti, California kid, made a pass for the lead about, I don't know, 10 laps ago, and he hasn't looked back yet. So could be a strong truck tonight. We're going to have to see. We're running close behind him, chasing him down. Your winner last week, Curtis Preston, Georgetown, Kentucky. So you know he wants to win here. This will be a home track for him, and I'm sure he wants to pull this one out. But right on his tail, teammate GT Irizarry, two-time champion. I mean, pole winner tonight. What can you say about the guy? He knows how to drive these trucks, and he's going to give everybody a hard time this year. I think that's going to be him. He's going to give you a hard time. He's going to battle you hard. Die-hard Ford guy wow. If I didn't know any better, I thought he was trying to drive right through the back of the 29 there. They must have checked up a little bit. And looking on his inside, we've got 23 Chad Biesinger out of the great state of Michigan. Cold there, I think pretty much 11 out of 12 months a year. But really nice guy. Runs in a couple other leagues with myself, and very, very respectful driver. And he's a guy you want to be running with for sure. League owner Michael Sheffield. He worries me. He worries me because he's methodical. He's so methodical the way he drives that truck and how he plans out his races. When's he going to pounce, you know? That's kind of what I'm thinking in the back of my head. When is that one truck going to pounce? I don't think you're going to see it yet. I don't think you're going to see it within the next 20 or 30 laps. But if I'm leaders, I'm worried about that one truck. And as we did speak of before, was battling for the lead, was in the lead. The 9 truck of Jeff Carson. Glendale, Arizona. And maybe I was right, maybe I wasn't, about him burning the tires up. But here he is. He slipped all the way back to the 6th spot. We're going to flip on over to the 6 of Richard Gonzalez. Out of somewhere in Massachusetts. I'll tell you what. I've been around this guy a little bit. Not a ton. I'll tell you what. Most respectful guy I've ever been around. I'll tell you what. If I was around this 6 truck, I'd be happy. Gives you a ton of room to race him. And very, very polite. Very, very polite guy. Back on all the way back, and I'm not sure if the 28 has pit yet. I don't think so, but he finds himself 25 seconds back off of the lead, in danger of going a lap down. Mobile, Alabama. Justin in that 28 truck, hoping to make up some ground. Trying to figure it out, and it's going to be, hey, let's wait and see type of deals. And rounding out our field, we have the 69 of Josh Maxwell working over. He is 1 lap down. I do believe he did come down pit road, and he's going with the early strategy. Now, with him coming down pit road that early, I think we're going to have to see him again. I really do. I think it's just one of those things you're going to have to make 2 stops if you come down early like that. As we head back up to the front of your field, Trevor Massetti is pulling away. That we could say that pretty confidently. 2.5 lead over 23 Chad Biesinger. And I think Trevor's feeling pretty comfortable. I mean, why wouldn't you be? You know, you're coming up on the halfway point of the race. Obviously, you have to make a pit stop. And they're going to be coming. I mean, I think if I'm Trevor, I'm trying to get past that 50 lap mark if I have enough gas, because that'll keep you at a one stop race. As we see, we have the 20 or the 6, excuse me, Richard Gonzalez. He's going to come down pit road, make his stop. When do the leaders come down? Do they come down together? You know, that's so many questions. And I think as we see the 3 on pit road, coming to lap 49, he's going to make his stop. This is where it gets interesting, as Chad Wiesinger will take over the race lead. This is where it gets interesting now, because Trevor, not only did he pit alone, he gave up that race lead before that lap 50 mark. So can these guys make it on one stop, especially these guys that you see that are coming down pit road early? Earlier than we probably thought we did. I know we said 40 to 50 laps, but, and we got, see here we got GT, lap 50 coming to 51. I feel like that might have been the better call, but if you're out of gas, you're out of gas. I mean, guys that are running back in the pack with other trucks, if you're one of those guys, you're going to use less fuel. As we got the 23, he's going to come down pit road now. We've got the 23 coming down pit road. We've got the 1 right behind him of Michael Sheffield. We've got Curtis Preston right behind him. So we've got everybody coming on pit road now. And I'll tell you what, I like the strategy of this group right here, mainly because I want to see, first off, who wins the race off of pit road, which is going to be huge right now. These guys are going to have the freshest tires. These guys are going to be set up for the end of the race. As we see, the 23 of Chad Wiesinger will win the race off pit road, and they will go out as they came in. So that could get very interesting later on here, as when everything cycles back out. Trevor Massetti will more than likely be your race leader eventually. Right now we do have 69, Josh Maxwell. He's going to be your race leader. Now he pit about 10 laps ago. So he pit on lap 41. So the 3 on fresh tires, he's going to catch them pretty quick, unfortunately. And I think if you're the 69, just hammer down really, because you know you're going to have to make another stop, as he's going to put the 28 of Justin Hendry lap down there. As you can see, he's going to try to at least. Justin Hendry made his pit stop at lap 48 with a lot of these other guys, so he's actually on better tires. So it's one of those things, if you're the 28, you probably got a little bit faster truck, really. But you're about to get put a lap down, so you either want to concede and let the race leader do his thing, or do you want to kind of be competitive, as he'll give that spot up, he'll put the lap down, and wow, in that amount of time, Trevor Massetti, nice to meet you. Right on the back door of Josh Maxwell on that 69. Fresh tires by about 7 or 8 laps. But the 3 groupings that I'm looking for right here, these guys right here, the 23 of Chad Wiesinger, the 1 of Michael Sheffield, and the 29 of Curtis Preston, all pit on lap 50. Also Jeff Carson. These guys, I think if this thing stays green, one of those 4 guys is who we'll be talking to when this thing ends, as Trevor Massetti was able to make the pass on Cole Maxwell there, and it's one of those deals, you know. You pit early, and that's what happens. As you see, the Ford GT Rosari was able to also make the pass on the 69. I mean, he's going to start dropping, being on essentially the oldest tires. I mean, it's just one of those things you have to bite the bullet on, really. So we're going to step away for a quick commercial break. We'll bring up the side by side so you guys don't miss any action, and we will be right back. All right, we are back live as we still have Trevor Massetti in the 3 truck out in front, about 3:10 second lead. This is the time where, you know, I would want to be disciplined on the way I drive my truck. I want to burn some laps off. I know the 4 is coming. I think if he gets to me, I kind of just let him go. And stick with them, and let's battle it out right at the end. If it was me, that's what I would do. But we'll have to wait and see. These guys are pretty content. Don't count out 4th, 5th, and 6th though. We've seen those guys. They are on the best tires. They pit on lap 50, and it's gonna be interesting. If they get up to the front, I think those are the guys that I'd be worried about. But with that being said, today's race and this whole season sponsored by Sheffield Graphics. Sheffield Graphics, owned by league owner Michael Sheffield, is a iRacing paints and liveries service that, I'll tell you what, they handle a lot of different things. You'd think just these paints. They do paints, race logos, they could do website designs, they make t-shirts. And I'll tell you what, this is a great organization, and I'll tell you why, is the owner, like I said, Michael Sheffield, does not take any money out of this. And that's incredible, especially nowadays. All proceeds go directly to the Folds of Honor organization, which is a great nonprofit organization that gives out scholarships to the families of fallen soldiers. Michael Sheffield, Navy veteran, and he wanted to give back to his country, and we thank him not only for his service, but what he's doing after his service time. We love watching him out here racing. We love that he gives back to a great organization, and we just want to say thank you, Michael Sheffield, for everything you've done for not only our country, but for this great series you put on, and we love calling it. Has the 4 has taken over the race lead. We figured it would come. We figured it would come. But I'll tell you what, hats off to Josh Maxwell. I mean, he's about to lose probably a couple positions here, honestly. He's got the 23. He's closing up, who we have already mentioned multiple times that he is on the best tires. But, man, he's hanging in there like a trooper. I think for Josh, it's a race I'm happy about. You got up there, you led a couple laps, with the pit cycles and whatnot. I think if you work on your pitch strategy, and not saying it was the wrong strategy, I mean it could. There's still a lot of racing left. It could pay off to be the right strategy. But I'll tell you what, that 69 Ford F-150, not doing too bad. Not doing too bad at all. And you see the one of Michael Sheffield. He's going to close in real quick. He's going to, what I would assume, is going to make the pass on Josh Maxwell probably as they go into turn one here. And that one truck, I think he's coming. He's got plenty of time to do it. But how do you make a big push? Because now these guys are 2+ seconds off of the race lead. How do you make a push without burning your tires up that much? You know, because you could get there, yeah, sure. I mean, that's not a problem. You could definitely get there. But do you have the tire to do anything once you get to these guys? Once you get up and you're on top of the 4 or the 3, which we're looking at about a half a second gap in between them. Do you even have tires left to even make a pass? Because you know these guys are up here saving. They're not only saving tires, but I can guarantee you they're watching that fuel gauge. They are on the radio with the crew chief saying, hey, can we make it? Do I need to save? You know, is this going to come down to, hey, you know, do we need to be out here saving fuel? And we're going to ride alongside with the 3 Trevor Massetti. I'm curious to see if he's trying to save any kind of fuel. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like it. He kind of goes into the corner, backs out of the throttle to, you know, obviously make his turn. If he was saving fuel, you would either hear him or by watching his tachometer there, him cutting the motor off. But it looks like he's just running this thing down as he gets a big run coming out of turn 2. Really closes the gap on GT Irizarry. So, not in fuel save mode yet. Let's start there. Let's just say not yet, not yet. This track has been kind so far. It really has. We haven't really seen anybody into the wall. We haven't, you know, we haven't had any cautions. I mean, it's been a great race. I mean, guys are kind of, you know, they're gap far apart to where, you know, they're probably comfortable running around the track, but close enough to where it's exciting racing. As I mentioned it just a couple minutes ago, we've got the 23 and the 1. Welcome to the party. What do you do? What do you do? If you're the 3, are you mirror driving? I mean, I probably would be. Especially because I'm trying to save, but guess what? These guys are right on our tail. So we're going to have to see, does the 23 have it in them to get around the 3? Because we know that they got a little bit fresher tires. What's going to happen? It's hard to say. We're going to watch. We are going to watch this battle unfold as it happens, because this is, in my opinion, this would be the move of the race. This is something that we're all going to watch and see what happens. I mean, the 23 and the 1 are right there. I mean, they are right there. You know, from first to 4th is right around a half a second, give or take. That's not a lot of space. It's not a lot, especially on a track like this. That's where racing has been spread out. You know, we've seen a lot of spread out racing, as the 23 is going to poke a nose in there. He's going to let the 3 know, you know, hey, I'm here. I've got the 1 with me. We're on better tires, and we're here to go to work. So we'll see what happens. Chad, from a personal side of things, he's unique. I'll put it to you that way. Nice guy, but he's unique, as he gets that nice little air push from the 1 and the 1 of Sheffield was able to make the pass on Massetti. And I'll tell you what, this 23 and 1 little tandem that's going on here, it's working. It sure is. We do see that they're on only about a lap or two better tires than GT, but they're coming. They are coming. They're hunting them down. This thing's winding down, so I think I don't want to say now or never, but it's definitely time to start thinking about, hey, we need to close the gap for sure. And if we want a chance to win this thing, we got to start making our move now, as we've got 25 laps to go. I mean, this thing is last quarter of the race. Will we see a late race caution? Boy, wouldn't that make things interesting? I know if you're GT, you definitely don't want to see a caution. But if you're Chad, if you're Michael Sheffield, heck, especially if you're Trevor Massetti, you want a caution for sure. But I just don't know. We haven't had one in 75 laps, so I don't know if we're going to get one. But boy, wouldn't that make something interesting? Exciting race. Really is. Chad just keeps getting that front bumper closer and closer, a little bit each lap. And I'll tell you what, I'd love to see them drag race to the finish. I think these are two guys that they feed off of the competition. They both love to win. Neither of them like to lose. And the same thing with Michael Sheffield. Very methodical, as we mentioned, on how he plays that out. And we did mention that pit strategy was going to be important. One thing we haven't talked about in a while, and I got to bring it up. 29 Kirsch Preston, he pit with those guys. He pit with Chad Biesinger and Michael Sheffield. Back in fifth, 5.5 seconds hasn't really been a factor this race. Was it truck not handling good? Who knows? I think for him, you're still sitting in a good spot. You got the win last week. You're running top 5 tonight. So no matter if you're looking at the points, still not that big of a deal. Should still be sitting pretty after this race, but we're 21 laps to go. I think this grouping of 3 trucks, I don't know if the 3 has the tire left to kind of make any moves. But the 23, he closes on the straights. The backstretch is where he is making his money right now. He is closing the gap. And I think if I'm Chad, I'm waiting until there's about 10 to go. Wait till you got about 10 laps to go and see if you can make it interesting. See if you can even make the pass. Because you're either going to do it or you're not, really. Let's call it what it is, right? You're either going to be able to make the pass or you won't. 20 to go. We're coming down to this is the nitty-gritty time. I don't know. I got a hunch. I still like the 3. I feel like the 3 he's got something that he's not showing us yet. I could be totally wrong. Chances, more times than not, I'm usually wrong, but let's see. But keep an eye on that 3. He's hanging with these guys, so he's got guys to run with, because the draft will certainly help you here, just like most other tracks. This is going to be fun to watch as the laps tick off and we kind of close this thing out. But coming up for these guys, here's what we got. If you can't get it done this week and you're good at Homestead, well, then next week's where you want to be. Followed by Auto Club Las Vegas. And I'll tell you what, that last one, You guys watching at home, circle that one on your calendar. Daytona Road Course. Never in the history of the Adrenaline Rush Racing League has there been a road course until this season. And we will head on the 24th of May. We will be down in Daytona Beach, and we're going to be turning left. We're going to be turning right. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will see which one of these guys handles the road course. You know, it's unproven waters. As we've got the 23, he's right there. I mean, he is right there, guys. He's ready to make his move, I think. I think I'd wait a couple more laps, but he's ready. And like I said, he's either going to be able to do it or he won't. You know, the 23 has ran a heck of a race. If for some reason he can't get by the 4 and the 4 ends up winning, I'd still be happier than ever if I'm the 23 and the 1. Because, you know, 4th place finish last week, if you could get a podium or a 4th place finish again this week, heck, you're starting off the season not too shabby, really. You know, qualified second. Made it up to, you know, kind of jostled around. He fell all the way back to 7th spot, did the one of Michael Sheffield. So I think if you're any of these top 4, wherever you finish, if you finish in this top 4, I think I'd be happy about it. What I want to know is, can these guys make it on field? Did they short pit? I think they might have, but we don't know. You know, we don't, unfortunately, we don't have that information, which would be great, but I think that's what makes it exciting. Will these guys be able to make it on field? As we're coming to 13 laps to go, this race is what we thought it would be, honestly. Caution free. Great racing, green flag stops. I'll tell you what, cautions, they bring excitement and drama and crazy pit strategy, sure. But I'll tell you what, and this is just my opinion, you guys could throw out your own opinion. I think green flag, there's nothing more exciting than green flag stops. Especially when it's, you know, if you win the road off a pit road, win the race off a pit road. And that kind of seals your fate. There's nothing more exciting out there, in my opinion. GT Arzari holds on to a narrow lead. I mean, I'm sure he is mirror driving that thing. And if I'm the 23, I'm just like, man, I want to make my move. Don't want to kill my tires because once I get past him, I need to stay there. You know, if I can only pass him for a lap and then he gets me back, well, that ain't no good. I think if you're the 23, you're waiting for the right time. But we're going to find out as we're getting down here to the nitty gritty. Any of you guys out there enjoy watching some awesome racing like you guys are putting on here tonight? Head on over to Evolution Racing Network on Facebook. Give us a like. Hit the bell. You'll get notified anytime we go live. Also, we are on YouTube at Evolution Racing Network. Subscribe, hit the bell over there, and you'll get notified anytime we go live. We run a couple series here. As a 23 looks to the inside, going into turn 3. This is what we're talking about, fellas. I told you guys, I thought with 10 to go he would make the move. As we come across the line with 9 to go, he did. GT got a killer run off of turn 4. And that is, you're going to see that, you know, but Chad gets right back up on that horse. He's going to close the gap. Honestly, I think if Chad's going to do it, it needs to come in 1 and 2. He's going to get good runs going into 3 and 4, but GT's going to get the run coming out of the corner, especially running that middle line. You could really get back on the throttle early, slide up to the wall, and power off. I think if it's going to happen, It's got to happen in turns 1 and 2. And if you're the one of Michael Sheffield, at this point, with 8 laps to go, I'd be sitting back there in case these guys wreck each other. You know, because it's obviously something that could happen. It's something that could definitely happen. But the 23 needs to find a way to get that good run coming off of 4. That's what he needs to find. He needs to find that extra speed to power off of 4, get right on that bumper so that way he could dive it down into 1 and 2. Because I think that's where it's going to happen, because that's where he closes. He gets such a good run going into the corner. I think that's where we're going to see it. Well, we're coming to 6 to go here, folks, and, you know, these 4 guys have literally just put a gap in on everybody. I mean, Curtis Preston, you're 5th place right now, 7 seconds behind. Already has a race win. He's going to be just fine. Jeff Carson, this may come into play. This really might. And I'll tell you what, he's close to being put a lap down. He is super close to being put a lap down. I mean, that's the gap. That is the gap right there as we see Jeff Carson coming into turn 1, and we go back to GT right there. That is the gap. Will that lap car play in anybody's favor? You know, if you're the 4, it'd be a good opportunity to use them as a pick car. But they got to get to him first, you know. I mean, it might be, as they come and take 4 to go here, it might not be a factor, but at the same time, it very well could be. As your top 5, GT Irizarry, running 2nd, Chad Biesinger, 3rd, Michael Sheffield, 4th, Trevor Massetti, and 5th is Curtis Preston, who is 8 seconds back, not in this lead group. Probably won't be a factor tonight. But like I said, we got the win last week. He is going to get a top 5 tonight, I would say, unless he blows his motor, really, because there ain't nobody around him. You know, a couple of guys that just didn't pan out tonight. You know, we're looking at the 6 of Richard Gonzalez, scored in 9th, which will be your last place truck, 10 laps down. Kind of wanted a better night, I'm sure. Justin Hendry, as he's lapped down, so by him going by Curtis Preston isn't going to really do anything for him. Josh Maxwell, sitting in 7th. 1 lap down. Ran a good race. Was up there in the lead for a little bit. But we got 2 to go. And we're coming down the backstretch. And right on the back door of Jeff Carson is the 4 of GT Irizarry. He's holding a 3/10 second lead over the 23 of Chad Biesinger, as they will take the Sheffield Graphics white flag. 1 lap to go for GT Irizarry here at Kentucky. And I know Chad, he has got that pedal to the metal. He's trying to make it work. He might catch him on the backstretch, but we've seen GT be so strong coming out of 3 and 4. I just don't think it's going to be enough, as they will come out of turn 4. And your race winner in race number 2 at Kentucky, GT Irizarry beats out Chad Biesinger in the 23 and the 1 of Michael Sheffield. And guys, for GT, obviously, awesome win. Put on the right moves when he needed to. Was able to save the tires. Had enough gas to make it to the end. And that's what you need to get it done. We've mentioned it. 2-time champion in the series. I mean, what more could you ask for, really? You know, he did what he had to do. and he put in the work. So congratulations to GT. Ran a heck of a race, 100 green flag laps in Kentucky. I mean, shoot. I'm not complaining because I love green flag stuff. As we see, he's going to burn it down here. Well deserved victory. I think that GT might want to go to burnout class, but well deserved victory. Ran a great race. Ran a super great race, and if I'm him, yeah, sure, I'm happy. Why wouldn't you be? Um, but here's what we're gonna do, fellas. We're gonna talk to these three. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back for your podium finishers. We'll get a word from all three of them.
Right on.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky. In a race where we saw GT Irizarry make the right moves when he needed to, and let's do what I mean. Everybody loves to talk post race. If you're talking post race, you had a good race. So let's do what we do the best. Michael Sheffield, third place finisher. Steve up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you. Got me.
I sure do, Michael. We talked about it pretty much all race. You're very methodical the way you like to drive the truck, and it paid off. I mean, you kind of hung back there, middle of the field through that first cycle, and you ended up having the best tires coming out of that pit stop, and were able to launch yourself up into a podium finish, third place. So, walk us through that race. What were you seeing out on the track, and what were you guys trying to do with a little bit more pit strategy wise as opposed to some of the other guys?
The first run was majorly just a setup for the second run. The longer I could stay at it, the better off I was for the second run. Ideally, I was going to try to make it to start of lap 52 before I pitted, but it didn't work out. So I came in on 51, and I won one off fuel strategy here before. I knew it was going to be tight for the guys that pitted a lap or 2 laps before us, but it worked out for them. And I didn't, I just tried to save fuel that second run until about 10 to go, and I knew I was good to go, so I started pushing the truck a little bit more. Just this track is such a momentum track that you burn your tires up and you just can't get that run off. And just one little 6 inches difference in a line at this track makes a huge difference. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we actually spoke about that towards the end when Chad was able to pretty much get right on the back bumper of GT, but just couldn't get the power off coming out of turn 4, and was not able to make the pass. Next week we head to Homestead. Old Birdie told me that you kind of like that track. What are you looking to do? Obviously, besides win, how do you get a win at Homestead?
Homestead is just going to be persistence. Just you got to run the track, not worry about what everybody else is doing. you got to stick to a game plan, and hopefully it pays off. I mean, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. There's a couple guys in here that are really good there, so I love the track, but not gonna count my chickens before they hatch for sure. So
Yeah, pretty good strategy. Well, Mike, we're going to let you go. Enjoy this third place finish. Before we do, you want to give any shout outs?
yeah, I want to thank you for being up in the booth there. I want to thank all my teammates over at SJR, and just look forward to this every week. This is a fun place to come and run and learn a little strategy and get to put it in play and see how things work out. It's a tough group of guys to run with, so learn something new every week.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on the third place finish, and we will see you next week, hopefully post race at Homestead.
All right, thank you, Steve.
All right, that was your third place finisher, Michael Sheffield, and humble. I mean, loves Homestead. I know that. We'll see what happens next week. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get our runner-up. Chad Biesinger, this is Steve up in the ERN booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, sir.
All right, Chad. We were locked in on you from pretty much lap 15 to the end. I kind of called that. I thought about with 10 to go, you're going to try to start making your move, and you were able to get the nose under GT in 3 and 4 several times. Couldn't make the pass. Walk us through those last 10 laps. What was the plan? And obviously it didn't work out, but walk us through those last 10 laps.
Man, I was still really close on fuel, and I knew he was that he pitted a lap before me even. So I was just trying to push him and hoping that he was going to be a little short. But but when it got down towards the end, I was trying. I just couldn't get by.
Very methodical. Try to push your competitor to run out of gas. I love the strategy. Next week we head to Homestead. After that we got Auto Club. Out of any of those two tracks, what would you say is your best track where you can maybe get one in victory lane?
Oh man, I like both those tracks. Really, I like the tire wear at Homestead. Um, yeah, I think I typically do better there than Auto Club.
All right, Chad. Well, I'm hoping that we're talking next week. I really am. I think you got a very good truck to beat. Came up a little bit short tonight, but at the same time, still got to be happy with a runner-up position. Before we let you go, Chad, and celebrate, you want to give any shout-outs?
Yeah, happy birthday to my mom, and both my parents are sick, and just wish them to get better.
Absolutely, Chad. And from all of us up here at ERN, we want to wish your mom a happy birthday, and we wish them both a speedy recovery. That was your second place finisher, Chad Biesinger, and he put the pieces together. Couldn't get the job done, but it's got to be happy. Got to be happy walking away with a second place finish. And let's get to it, folks. I know everybody wants to hear what he has to say. GT or Zari, Steve, up in the ERN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, GT. We spoke pre-race with you being on the pole, and here we are. Post-race, you're able to put all the pieces together when they needed to be. Walk us through that. How were you able to keep it? Were you? I want to know. Were you running close on fuel at the end?
We ran out of gas on the cool down lap, but we had to pit a lap before some of the other trucks behind us. So I knew then I was really gonna have to be in super save mode for the second half there. But I wanted to kind of get out as far as I could when I first came out, take advantage of the tires. So I ran hard for probably about 4 laps, and then caught up to Trevor and him. And then I was like, I'm just going to draft off of him and just try to maintain that distance to the trucks behind me. And then once they started coming, then I had to go. What I figured out was I was able to throw it into neutral long before I got to turn 3 and just let the truck just kind of rotate on its own by barely touching the brakes. And lucky for me, that kept us fast enough to stay ahead of them guys. So I was able to do it in 1 and 2, or actually in 1, before they caught up after that. Then you just kind of had to just stick it to the bottom and go. But yeah, man, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew it was going to be close on fuel. Um, you were able to get it done tonight. That puts you in the win column for the season. We're coming up on Homestead next week and Auto Club. Out of those 2 tracks, where do you feel you're strong at?
Actually, we're strong at both of them. I think Sheffield's got a little bit better tire saving strategy at Homestead. Auto Club, I think you're probably going to have to look out for Chad or Travis. I think they're going to show up too and show us that hey, that they belong in victory lane as well. But both of them are fun tracks, just to say the least. I hope we get a few more folks out here to run with us, especially at California or Auto Club, because it's just such a big track.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit smaller field tonight, but we're hoping next couple of weeks we get a couple of more guys in. But before we let you go, crack that cold beer open. You want to give any shout outs?
Appreciate Sheffield for everything he does, and Sheffield Graphics, Ryan for everything he does with the Cup Series League and so forth. Evolution Racing is a great place to be. Definitely want to thank you broadcasters up there as well for being in here, and got to thank my teammates, I guess. We really weren't around each other this whole race, but nevertheless, we learn off of other things to where it helps out in every race we go to. So appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, GT. Well, go enjoy your victory, man. You earned it. You deserve it. And hopefully we'll be talking to you next week at Homestead. All right, folks. It's it was a fun race. Super fun race. We got to see GT come away with the win, and we're 2 races into this thing. What's going to happen? What's going to unfold next week? Obviously, we don't know. You'll have to tune in to find out. But we're gonna go ahead and end this thing. Everybody, we appreciate y'all coming out to check out these guys. Head on over to Evolution Racing League's Facebook page. They run a multiple series. Give them a like. Give us a like. You like this? You enjoyed this race? Give us a like. Hit that bell. Come join us next week. We'll be here 8 o'clock on the East Coast at Homestead. We hope to see you guys there. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Thanks again. For Steve Kerpel up in the ERN booth, everybody, no matter where you're at, have a good night.